Hi, AP Physics class. I really miss you. I'm going to put a few tips on doing free response questions because these are the kinds of things I would have been teaching you had we been together. But I don't want you to make some mistakes on your free response questions. Now, sometimes, quite a few times, they ask you to graph a linear equation and find out information from it. So I just want to give you a few tips about this. First of all, if you have an object that's moving, okay, and you have this basic equation, and you can measure the distance and the time, you want to create some kind of graph that gives you the information like the acceleration. Well, if we have something like this, we know that our starting point up here is when time equals 0, when the original velocity is 0, and we'll put our original x as 0 as well. So if we plug in all those zeros, then we end up with x final equals 1/2 at squared. Now this, believe it or not, can make an equation of a straight line. Think about the equation of a line. If they ever ask you to do a straight line equation with anything, write y equals mx plus b underneath the equation you have. Okay? B here doesn't matter because there is no b. So it means it would start at 0. So if you look, your y-axis is where you're going to plot your distances, your x's. Your slope is going to be what's in front of your other measurable thing. So your x-axis is going to be where you plot t squared, okay? So look at the equation you have and match it up 1-to-1 with the equation of a line. So my slope is actually going to be 1/2 the acceleration. So when I plot my x's, let's say I'm just going to plot, this is my x's and this is my time squared. Don't forget to square the times you get before you plot them. Let's say I got a few dots like that. And this is an important reason why you can't just do beginning and end if you're doing an experiment. You have to get distances from several points in between. So you have to always do that. And in an experiment, don't ever forget you have to do at least 3 trials because just doing an experiment once doesn't give you anything, okay? So that's a few hints here. Now, when they ask you to draw a best fit line, you draw it through the data. You don't necessarily have to hit the dots. I just had to. I might have wanted to tip it up a little bit, but it has to be through the data, okay? And if they ever ask you to find the slope, because what would the slope give us? 1/2 the acceleration. Pick 2 points that are, I'm going to get a different color here to emphasize. Pick 2 points that are not on your data points. That's very important. They don't want you picking 2 data points because it's rare that 2 of your data points is going to fall on that best fit line. And to find the slope, you'll make yourself a little triangle like that and find these values and use the slope formula, y minus y over x minus x, to find the slope. And that's how you would do anything on the AP exam, free response, that has you graphing something linearly. Don't be frozen in the mindset that it has to be a single variable. It can be t squared. For example, I could have done this one like this. Instead of t squared, I could have rewritten this as square root of x equals 1 over, I won't mess it up that much. Let me move the 2 over. So 2x equals at squared. So I could have gotten square root of 2x equals square root of a times t, and I could have done square root of 2x here and t there, and then I would have had the square root of a as my slope. So I wouldn't mess around with it if I can get this easily. And then when I get the slope equals 1/2 the acceleration, and to get the acceleration, I would just double my slope. Now, like I said, never draw your best fit line, never try to get it through the points, and never ever choose two of your points as your points to get your slope. They want the points off the best fit line. They never want it to be one of the points they either gave you or you got. Hopefully this will be helpful on some of your pre-response questions.